Hello everyone. Today we're going to go ahead and install a Stiebel Eltron 36 Tempra Plus 36 kilowatt. Takes three 50 amp breakers. I'm doing that because I've been monitoring the power for about a year with the Emporia power monitors, and my tanked 240 gallon electric water heaters take about 30% of my electric bill every month. So I'm hoping that with this guy, even though he's taking 350 amp breakers, that will now have a lower electric bill. This video goes through what I am doing. It's not an instructional video, so check it out. Here we go. Open it up. Instructions. Wall screws. That may be it. Alright. Got your cold coming in with the filter, hot, and 50 watts. Excuse me, 50 amps. So this hot water, or excuse me, cold water feed coming in, I'm going to cut it up here at the top, shark bite it, swing it up against the concrete. And then we have our hot water right here. I'm going to cut it right back there against the wall. It should be about even. And then this one and this one are our overpressure reliefs coming from the top of the tanks. I'm going to cut one out completely, cut this one that's closer against the wall, and feed that for a hot water relief. And then our recirculation one, which comes around right here all the way down. Try to cut him down here against the tank, maybe on the other side of this recirculation. And we're not even going to use that going forward. Alright, so we got water cut off to the house. I turned off the water heaters an hour or two ago to try and let them cool down a little bit. Next thing we're going to do is hook up the drain, let them start draining outside through a hose, and I'm going to work on taking out the 240 amp breakers and moving some electrical breakers around, because I've had to move them around to make sure that we don't go over amperage, because the panel itself is 200 amps and we have two of them, but I had to move like the oven and the clothes dryer and a few other things around to ensure that we stay under the 200 amps. And I was able to figure all that out with the Emporia Vue2 power monitors on the breakers. On the panel on the far side, this guy right here, he actually uses up to 160 amps because he's got three HVAC compressors hooked up outside, whereas this guy on the right only is using, and he's got the electrical water heaters. This guy on the right doesn't have any high power draw systems on there, except for it had the oven and the clothes dryer. And so by moving the water heaters off and moving the oven over, we should have plenty of 150 left over on this other breaker. So water's cut off, let's drain it, and I'll move the breakers around. Okay, so we got breakers moved over here, a few from over there, move these up. Now I have my 350 amp spots right here. And I think what we're going to do is go ahead and finish draining these tanks and mount this guy up before I cut these wires. The 8 AWG wires is 8-2, right? So we have two feeds in it and then one bare copper. And 8 is the size AWG, and then 2 is the Romex, so it would be 8-2 Romex. But this conduit pipe, which I believe you need for code because it's water over here, so it keeps it sealed so water can't get anywhere near it, is 1/2 inch conduit and then a 1/2 inch connector. When we move over to the 6-2 Romex, I have a 3/4 conduit and a 3/4 pipe. And that fits into the bottom of the Stiebel Eltron heater, and now the hole for the conduit is 1 1/8 inches, but the 3/4 little connectors and a 3/4 conduit is what fits in there for me. Alright, so gone ahead while the tanks are draining, taking off the electric on both sides, cut these right here, try and help with the drainage, and just checking this tank, it's almost done. And this is the incoming cold. It's now empty. I've got this guy all done, so I'm going to go ahead and pull him out And then we'll go ahead and cut some of these guys and start taking them out. Now remember, with the incoming cold, I was going to cut this guy and twist him up against the wall so he's over here. I'm going to go ahead and cut him up here. All right, now these are going to be shark bites, so you want to make sure you get a good straight cut on it. Cold is still a decent white, but the hot has discolored to like a tan. Then we have our overpressure, which remember I said we were going to keep. And then we have a recircular line, which we're going to cut off. So I think we're about done with water in the house, so I'm going to go ahead and cut this, and we're going to cut it as low as we possibly can down here. And we're going to try to make this cut as low and as clean as possible, since we're going to reuse it straight. Alright. We actually did snap a little bit. I don't know if you heard that. It didn't make a nice clean cut, so I'll cut it again, but we're not going to have any water coming out, and that's good. He's going to connect via shark bite, and on a shark bite you got to connect to those washers. I say not the washer, but well, I guess it kind of is, but the rubber gasket, it's got to be really nice and straight. And he cracked again. I don't know if that's from age and the hot water or what, but that's not what I'm looking for. I'm going to cut our over pressure line. I'm going to cut it as close as I can to this elbow, and we can cut it again later if we need to. Finally, we got to go down here and cut our recirculation line, and that is actually copper. So I'm going to grab the hacksaw and cut that guy. So we got everything disconnected. Over pressure, which goes out over this way to septic. Hot water out, cold in, and our recirculation is off down the bottom. So we'll go ahead and get this guy out of the way. See if we can't make a nice cut without me cutting my fingers, I guess. Much nicer. I think you'll probably be able to see that. Well, this PVC, I just chipped it, but it's not perfect. It does sink down on the back. I'm going to get a piece of sandpaper and we'll sand it down and try to make it better. You can see how much that electric tank was rusting. Put my finger in there, you get all that brown rust out. Alright, so these are very similar to the drywall anchors that it came with. You say the screws are about 1/8 and the anchor is about 1/4, a quarter. So I got a concrete drill bit. We'll drill 1/4 inch holes. We'll shove in the anchors and then screw it in. We have a concrete bit, not just masonry, but concrete, and it's 1/4. I'm going to mark this drill bit for how deep I need to go, right? Because we don't want to go all the way through for sure. I'm probably looking at 4-inch walls, at least 3. This is foundation, but we'll go as little as possible. So I'm just going to take that drill bit and we'll match it up to right here and put a mark on our drill bit for how deep we need to go. Holding, and our other one lines up pretty good. So let's get that guy in there. Start off with our cold Teflon tape. Right, we're just going to wrap it around this side. We don't want to get any on the inside of the pipe, so just going around the outside. You want to pull it tight though. Put it on this guy. Alright, so we're clean on the inside. Got a nice little bunch on there. Right, and we know this part's going to the hot water heater because it's got the shut off, because we want to be able to shut off the cold water and then rinse it through this pipe when the maintenance is due. Right, don't forget about which way we end up with this on-off valve, so you can always turn it off. Right, on the top of this guy it twists too, so I can get that on the water heater. This bottom one is fixed, so that one's got to go on first anyway. So one in here, on and off. Also note on this guy that there is a filter right here that you want to be able to get to from time to time. So you may want to pull, or excuse me, make this flexible enough where you can get in and out. So now we go double check our valve. It goes towards me so I can turn it off. We can go ahead and do this guy right here. Push him on. Alright. No burrs and clean. Feels like he's on there pretty good. Now, oh, let's see, I need to get a brake on. Got a little Teflon on there. It's in there. Hotter, we got a Teflon. It's up in here. The Plus has this pressure regulator. Make sure there's enough hot water. Up here, where I was talking about with the anchor screws. So if you didn't put them in all the way, you can slide them through this hole and then just slide the whole unit down. So let's get our cold water on. We got our hot water. He's good and clean right here. That's our overpressure. And now we have our hot water going up this way. Alright, so hot water's off, cold's off, water's on. Kids have flushed the toilet. There's faucets on upstairs. So I'm going to go through and turn all those off, and we'll watch and make sure we can hold pressure. All the water's been shut off around the house, but we do have a little bit of water right here. I tightened it up, dry it off. Let's see. Watching it. Maybe I'll be good. Might give it another squeeze or so, just a little bit more. But we look good. Everything else is holding. So next, do our electrical. Alright, so just going back through something we did earlier, talked about. So we have 350 amp breakers. They're all on one panel. I got this guy put back together, and I did move most of the other high volumes. The Emporia, really great. Had my power for the last year, so I knew exactly how many amps this panel had. The one on the left that's closed up has HVACs, which take up 50% of the power, plus it had the water heaters on here. All that's off, and all we have up here is some breakers that aren't used, the double pole ones. And so this panel is up at like 60, so we should have enough for 150 after the fact that I moved off the oven and the clothes dryer. So next we're going to wire up these 50 amps. I'm just putting in our little 3/4 connectors in the bottom of the heater. Now we need to get our 6.2 Romex. Now this is some fat wire. So this is only 3 wires. 2 go to the double pole breaker, and then the ground goes up to the top. So we need to come from over here down through, and then high enough where we can get into this ground bar in an open spot. Give yourself a little extra. Better to have that and lose like 6 inches. Bring this over here. Undo it. Up over here. Plenty of slack. Alright, so right about right here. Okay, I need this one. Alright, so he's on there nice and tight. He's going to end up going right there. So now let's bring this ground over. And there are 3 spots open along the bottom, so I'm just going to use those bottom 3. Alright, one done, break her off. Alright, electrical's done. All 3 are off. Next, we can move over here and start wiring up our other bad boy. That guy. So we're just going to come up through here, go in there. We need to get our conduit over here. So numero uno, line of one we got labeled. Start feeding that down into the conduit. It's kind of interesting. All right, let's see. I'm not going to feed that yet. Let's measure it out here. I'm going to go out from here. Let's try these guys. CPVC cutters. That works nicely, I might add. Alright, so now let's push our wire through. Alright, don't forget our top. So we got to put that guy down on there. These guys go up through. So, and up on there. Hang him up. Okay. Alright, so first we got ground. And these are tough wires. Alright, I'm not going to over tighten this, or try and be careful not to over tighten it, because we are working with plastic. So I'm just looking underneath that ground, making sure that screw's getting right on there. So let's take your jacket off about down here. Now this is the crazy part. Even though this one has ground, and 3 for that matter, we're only using 1 ground. And that's all it shows in the instructions. So I'm going to cut it, and I'm just going to curl the ground down, and we'll put line 1 first, which is the white, and then line 2. So let's get cutting. So when you're making that turn, whatever wire you have on the outside has got to be a little bit longer than the one on the inside. So we got our ground going in. Line 1, line 2, line 1, line 2, line 1, line 2. Let's do it again. Ground, line 1, line 2, line 1, line 2, line 1, line 2. Got everything secured here. We got these guys shut off for our recirculation. That looks good, no leaks. Got this guy with our high pressure coming out, going out. And our hot coming in. We're gonna have to take care of this pipe right there. But other than that, we're looking good. All right, all the water's been run out. It's time to turn it on. I put that screw in there, but I'll do that in a minute. So here we go. 1, 2, 3. All right, so just showing it again. So we're at 105. We'll turn the hot water on over here at the faucet. Alright, it's on and running. Hear the water, 1.3 gallons per minute. Doesn't feel warm, so let's go up. 120, 125. Doesn't feel like 125. Let's go up. 140. And it's just barely warm. Okay, I wouldn't swear to it, but I feel like there is a temperature variation going on. But that's hot. I mean, I can stick my hand under it, so it's not burning me. It's certainly not 140. But it's hot. I'm going to do some more testing and we'll see what we got, and I'm going to anchor this over here. So far it seems alright. I would mention that showers, I got the low flow taken out of that one, and it's running at 1.3 gallons per minute. Faucets are running at 1.1. Bathtub is running at 1.5, so pretty much all my fixtures are running anywhere from 1.1 to 1.7. With, let's see, I think the tub is the one running at 1.7. So it's all looking good. It's nice and hot. Minor leak right here I can fix. Should be good to go. We've got our wires routed down over that way. Got our panels all put back together. And we have our 3 water heater double pulls. I need to fix that. Or as far as labeling, that's the only thing I really have left. I got to label changes I made to the panels and fix this up. So we'll see you guys in 2-3 months, maybe earlier, and I can report back on what the usage has been like, what it's done, if I've used more water or less water, but more importantly, the electricity. Am I using less or more electricity? So you guys stay safe and take care. Bye. I've actually found that one of the canisters is not heating. I've double checked the wiring and I've double checked the voltage on the unit itself. It's all there. There's also an over temp protection, and I've checked that. But this is kind of a good thing because you can see from the Emporia app, water heater 1, which is a 50 amp breaker, water heater 3, 50 amp breaker. They're both pulling, but if you scroll down, water heater 2 has a little bit of usage there, and that's just from the 120 volts, I believe. But it's not pulling near the same amps. In addition, with the Plus model, it'll modulate the water flow, and I can't get more than 2 gallons per minute before it starts slowing down the hot water to maintain the outgoing temperature. So all those things combined. As you can see, we're now pulling amps from all three. And after going through and troubleshooting more and more, I found that the breaker for water heater number 2 listed here on one of the lines would show 120, but if I left it connected or monitoring the power, it would slowly go down to about 80 volts in 30-40 seconds. So it was not supplying the proper voltage. Went out to a hardware store, got a new 50 amp breaker, put that in, connected it back up, and it's working like a champ. Even with 2 canisters, which would probably be a lower model, either the 27 or maybe the 18, 16, it was still doing really good and heating the water nicely. So now we just need to see what our electric bill ends up being. You guys take care. Talk to you in a few months.